Old Silas, his bones as brittle as dried leaves, shuffled into the courtroom.
His threadbare coat hung loosely on his stooped frame, and his eyes, the color of faded denim, held a weary resignation. He looked like a scarecrow caught in a sudden, unforgiving wind. The bailiff, a young man with a surprisingly gentle hand, guided him to a worn wooden chair. Silas's crime was simple: the theft of a single loaf of bread. The judge, a man whose face bore the etchings of countless judgments, surveyed Silas with a mixture of sternness and something akin to pity. Silas's confession was brief, a choked whisper about gnawing hunger and the desperate choices made by a man on the edge of oblivion. He spoke of empty pockets and an emptier stomach, his voice barely audible above the hushed murmur of the courtroom. The judge, a man who had seen the worst and the best of humanity, cleared his throat. "The court finds you guilty," he announced, his voice surprisingly soft. "The fine is $10. Silence descended, thick and heavy. Silas's head drooped. $10 was a fortune he didn't possess. Before Silas could react, the judge reached into his own wallet, producing a crisp $10 bill. He walked to Silas, his gait unhurried, and placed the money in the old man's trembling hand. Silas's eyes widened, a flicker of surprise, then gratitude, replacing the despair. The judge then turned to the assembled crowd. His gaze swept across the faces, from the impassive reporters to the curious onlookers. "I find each and every one of you in this room guilty," he declared, his voice ringing with a controlled fury. "Guilty of living in a society where a man must steal a loaf of bread to survive? A $10 fine for each of you." Court gasped in shock. Murmurs and whispers turned into a low hum of protest. Yet, one by one, people rose, faces a mixture of shock and shame, and paid their fines. The judge, with the efficiency of a seasoned clerk, collected the money for $180 in total. He then approached Silas again, placing the substantial sum into the old man's hands. Silas looked from the money to the judge, his eyes brimming with tears. He didn't speak, but the depth of his gratitude was far more eloquent than any words could have been. The courtroom remained silent, the weight of the judge's silent accusation hanging heavy in the air, a stark reminder of a society that needed to change, one $10 fine at a time.